Logic Pro 10. Recorded a bunch on that idea during the last podcast, and really still, enjoying Logic Pro 10 quite a bit. It's pretty fun to be working with. What is it about it that I like? Well, really, I think a big part of it is all of the free loops and sounds that you get. There's a lot of other programs out there and a lot of other applications that have software instruments that you can apply or loop packages that you can download. So those are certainly available to a lot of producers, but a real positive convenience about Logic is that you can download nearly 70 gigabytes of a sound library just for free that's available sort of with the program without doing any additional or extra steps. And so that's a part of it that I think is a cool advantage. So I've been just going through and messing with those loops. Been trying to check out the Live Loops dashboard, and or I don't know if it's a dashboard, but trying to look at the Live Loops tool of how you can kind of throw in loops to this grid and then trigger them in sequences. So it's been fun to check out while I've been trying to do some guitar stuff. Really just, pardon me, really just kind of regular practice stuff is all I'm up to. But it's cool. There's a couple amp modelers that you can get into when you have your guitar plugged into an interface into the computer. And it's a great system to do it with. I've been trying to master. Is it called mastering? If you're doing it this way, I've been trying to produce out the podcast using Logic Pro for at least the last one, and then I did some editing on a couple others. But I've been trying to go through and sort of learn how I could use Logic Pro to do the production of the podcast stuff, which kind of goes up and down. I mean, so I'm recording. I've said probably many times, recording into an H4n, which has good preamps for vocals. I think like part of the tonal quality of how a microphone ends up picking up the sound, I think, is part of the preamp power that's supplied to the way that the microphone picks up the information. I don't know, or how it's recorded. There's something about that. I guess what it comes down to is sort of the I don't know, the quality of the sound that you're hearing. So it sounds really quite good and natural just coming through as it is. I've used other systems before that is not the case. It sounds really tinny or really thick and muddy, or just I don't know, some weird digital noise that's in there. A lot of problems and stuff that I've had to try and overcorrect in the past. But so this is okay. So when I throw it into Logic, I don't have a ton of things to do, but I do try and set a track, like a channel strip, with a few different effects features applied to it so that it kind of adjusts the audio enough to make it, I guess, a little bit more suitable for listening to in a podcast. Most of that is adding a compressor in a stack. So I have the voice compression, so really loud things and really quiet things are normalized a little bit so that they don't pop and become really loud if you're like hearing it on headphones. You know, it doesn't go from the normal state of voice that my voice is in now to some other really high loudness all of a sudden. I have an equalizer on there to get rid of a couple odd room tone frequencies. I think there's like a high pass, or there's this little filter pass that you can do where you kind of pull out a piece of the EQ really high and sweep it across your spectrum, and then you find this frequency. There's probably like 2 or 3 that are just sort of these weird warbly high-pitched tones that can be in there, and you can kind of drop those out with the EQ, and that really it kind of changes. You wouldn't almost notice it if you were just listening to the full mix. You'd think, well, I can't hear that sound, but really you can in some way. It's this sort of agitating bad sound that you also hear along with everything else.